Hey guys, thanks for joining the episode of Let's Play Games. My name is Lance, and today I'm going to teach you how to play Batman the Animated Series Rogues Gallery. This is a new one from IDW Games. It is a 3 to 5 player game that takes roughly 30 to 45 minutes to play and is a competitive game, so each player is going to be competing against the other players to be the first to defeat Batman. In the game itself, each player is going to be playing one of the famous villains from the Batman series, and throughout the game, the players are going to take turns, and during each player's turn, they're going to roll their set of dice, trying to defeat heroes that will get them points that they can use to purchase new accomplices and upgrade cards. As they progress through this, they're going to challenge Batman, and if they're able to defeat Batman, then they will be the winner of the game. So I would recommend this game to anybody that really enjoys the Batman animated series or Batman in general, or enjoys dice chucking or competitive games, as this one did a good job with that. So as always, these are just my opinions. I'd love to hear from you in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of this. And as always, if you like these videos, if you enjoy what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel, as it really does make a big difference, helps me to continue to grow and produce these videos. If you want to stay up to date on all my videos, also consider ringing that bell so you get notifications anytime I release new content. So let's head to the table and I'll teach you guys how to play. Each accomplice card is going to have the cost in the top corner to purchase it with schemes, and is going to have the name of that card. And then each card is also going to have an ability that the player can activate by giving the card to the player to their right and then activating that ability. Accomplice cards can also be spent by placing them in your discard pile to activate upgrade cards, and I'll show you this more later. Each player is also going to start the game with 2 accomplice cards, the Stonegate Prisoner and the Asylum Inmate. Each upgrade card is going to provide the villain player with an ability that they can use during their turn. Each upgrade card is going to have a cost and schemes to purchase it from the heist row, and will have a name of the card, the number of accomplice cards that must be discarded to activate that ability, and then finally the ability at the bottom of the card, once it is activated, will be resolved. Each card can be used any number of times as long as you can meet the requirements to activate the card by discarding accomplices. And each player is going to start the game with the Secret Lair card. The hero deck is going to be comprised of 2 different types of heroes. We have the basic heroes with the gray border and the advanced heroes with the red border. Each hero is also going to have a power level, which if the hero is defeated, then it is going to increase the bat signal by that number of points. And each hero is going to have a name and an image of that hero, and then the dice that are going to be needed to defeat that hero. And I'm going to go into more detail about those later on. Finally, at the bottom of the card is going to be an ability that hero will activate when revealed, or when the ability tells you to activate it. Sometimes it'll be when the hero is defeated, or when certain other conditions are met. The final set of cards we have are the Batman cards, and there'll be 3 of these cards that'll be shuffled up, and when a player must face Batman, they'll flip over the top one. Each Batman card is going to have requirements again, and an ability that will be activated the player must resolve before defeating Batman. If the player is able to defeat Batman, then they have won the game. Each player is going to be playing a villain throughout the game, and each villain's card is going to list the name of that villain and that villain's image. At the bottom of the card is a special ability that that villain will grant the player that they can use during their turn. And then each villain is going to have a maximum number of cards they can hold for upgrades and accomplices. And then finally, each villain is also going to have a power level that throughout the game, during the player's turn, they're going to be able to upgrade potentially by spending schemes. And each power level they move up will grant them additional power dice that they will be able to use during their turn. For player setup, each player will choose a villain or be randomly dealt a villain and will receive a power token that they'll place on the 0 spot of their power track. Each player is also going to receive 2 starting accomplices, which again are the Asylum Inmate and Stonegate Prisoner, and a upgrade card, which will be the Secret Lair. From there, based on the number of players, and as you can see on this chart, after the starting player is selected, each other player in clockwise order will receive a number of schemes. Any of the remaining Secret Lair or starter accomplice cards that you're not using or not given out to players are going to be returned to the box and will not be shuffled in with their respective decks. For board setup, the first thing you're going to do is place out the bat signal track as well as the token, and you can place it at the beginning of that track. Then go ahead and take the Batman cards and shuffle those up and place them right next to that track. You can also shuffle up the upgrades and place them out above there, and then place out the top 3 across that track, and this will be the heist row. For the accomplices, go ahead and shuffle that deck up as well and place that out, and then place 3 accomplices out face up as well. This will be the prison row. With the hero deck, go ahead and separate it into the basic and advanced heroes. The advanced heroes you can set off to the side for now, as you won't use them initially. Those will come into play during the second round. And then go ahead and shuffle up the basic hero deck and place that out next to the Batman cards. You can also place out all the tokens you're going to be using for the game, the schemes and coins. And for this video, I'll be using a Crystal Fortress pod set. You can find more information about those in the link below to their website. Finally, go ahead and choose a starting player, and you can do this in any manner you want to. I'm going to go ahead and have Two-Face be the starting player. Then he will receive the 7 starter dice. You can also place out the 4 power dice off to the side. As players unlock their different power levels, they'll be able to pull those dice and use them during their turn. The final step, as you can see on this chart, is that each player after the starting player will receive a number of schemes. Starting with the first player to the left, they will receive 1 scheme. And then the next player is going to receive 2, and so on and so forth following that chart, as you can see. From here, we're ready to begin the game. Batman the Animated Series Rogues Gallery is played over an undefined number of rounds, and during each round, each player will get to take a turn, starting with the first player and proceeding in a clockwise manner around the table. During each player's turn, it is broken down into 4 phases that the player will go through, and this is going to continue until one of the players is able to face Batman and defeat him. When that happens, that player is the winner of the game. Moving into the game, our first player is going to be Two-Face, and so we're going to start his turn with the first phase, which is the preparation phase. So during this phase, you're going to take any accomplice cards you have in your discard pile into your hand, and during the first turn, these are already considered in your hand, so you don't have to worry about that. From there, then you're going to go ahead and gather up any of the dice you'll need, which are your 7 common dice, and then based on your power level, if you have a power level of 1 up to 4, then you're going to receive a number of additional power dice. Right now our player does not get any additional power dice, so we don't have to worry about that. So then we'll go ahead and give these a roll, and then set those off to the side, so that is our roll. Finally, if a player has any lucky coins, they can go ahead and flip those, and Two-Face will actually start the game with 2 lucky coins. So we'll go ahead and flip these and see what happens. So for each one that comes up with the unscratched side, you're going to receive 1 scheme token, and each one that came up with the scratch side, it would allow you to gain 1 expended die, which I'll explain how that works a little bit later. Both of ours came up with the unscratched side, so we will gain 2 schemes. From there, then we can just set these coins back off to the side on our player board, and we won't use those again until his next turn. The second phase in a player's turn is the crime spree phase, and during this phase the player is going to be going up against heroes, trying to defeat them, and if they push their luck too far, going up against Batman. If they're able to defeat Batman, then they will win the game. If not, or if they're unable to defeat a hero that they go up against, they'll move into the arrest phase. If they're able to defeat heroes that they go up against and choose to end their turn before being arrested, then they'll move into the upgrade phase. So let's go ahead and move into the turn. So the first step in the turn is to reveal the top card of the hero deck and place it in front of the player. This is the active hero that is trying to stop that player. From there, you're going to resolve any effects at the bottom of that hero's card. So it says, with this one, if you are dangerous, discard Commissioner Gordon and encounter 2 heroes instead. And a villain is going to be considered dangerous if their upgrade or their power level is at the 3 or 4 level. So if it was up here in one of these red spots, then we would be considered dangerous. At this point, we are not, as we are at the bottom of that power level. So from there, then it'll move into the first step of our turn, where we're going to go ahead and activate any abilities at the bottom of our villain card if they apply. And then we can also use any upgrade cards that we have or accomplices that we have. And we can do this in any order and in as many times as we want, unless the upgrade or power restricts that. So our villain here, Two-Face, grants us the 2 coins that we can use throughout the game, so we don't have to worry about that, as we already have those coins. Then we can use any number of upgrade cards that we want to. In order to use an upgrade card, you have to discard an accomplice from your hand, or a number of accomplices, based on this number as you can see here. So with the Secret Lair, we have to discard 1 accomplice, and when we do, we can reroll all the dice in our pool. We can do this again any number of times, as long as we have accomplices in our hands that we can discard to meet the requirements of that. The last option we have is to activate an accomplice card. In order to do that, you're going to pass the accomplice card to the player to your right, and then activate that card's ability. So with this, you want to make sure that you really want to use it, as you're basically giving other players accomplices that could potentially have really powerful abilities. So you want to plan out when you use those. From there, then once you've decided to do any of that stuff that you want to do, then the second part of the turn is to go ahead and go up against the hero that you're fighting. And you'll be using the dice in your pool and placing them on the hero's card to meet the requirements of that hero. And there are 3 different symbols, and Commissioner Gordon is a perfect example of this. So first off, the first one we're going to look at is just the basic number. So with Commissioner Gordon, as you can see, he needs a 3 on him to defeat that first or meet that first requirement. So we have a die with a 3 on it, so we can go ahead and place that there. Then the second symbol is a number with a plus sign. What that means is you can use any number of dice that you have that are going to equal or beat that number. And it could simply be one die that meets that number's requirements. So if we had a 2, we could place a 2 on there. Or if we had 2 1s, we could place those on there. Or we could place a die that is higher than that number. The final symbol we have is a letter symbol. And with this one being an X, it just means that we can place any die on there that does not match a number that we've already placed on this villain or this hero. So we could not place a 3 or 4 on this spot, but we could place a 1 or a 5 or any other number that we have that meets those requirements. And then the final thing is if there are multiple letters of the same type, you have to place a number on each of those that matches and again does not match any other number we've used. So if this one was an X as well, we would need a second 4 to meet those requirements, or we could have used the set of 5s. Now sometimes you'll also have letters on there that are not the same. So if this one was an X, we could use a 4, and then let's say this one was a Y, it would again have to be a different number than we've already used, so we could do a 5 on there instead. So once you've met all the requirements of the hero, you have defeated them, and you'll move that off to the side, leaving all the dice on there as they are considered expended. The player to your left is going to move the bat signal up the number of points that that hero's power level was. So Commissioner Gordon is power level 3, so we'll move the gauge up to number 3. Now, if you were unable to defeat a hero, say we didn't have enough dice, or we had the wrong symbols on there that we weren't able to meet all the conditions of the hero, then the hero arrests us and we would move straight into the arrest phase. But we didn't. We went ahead and defeated the hero. So at this point, we'll check to see where the bat signal is. If it is at the number 10 spot, then we have to face Batman. So we'll flip over the top Batman card and try to face him. If we're able to defeat him, then we've won the game. If not, again, we will be arrested and that bat card will be added back into the Batman stack and shuffled back up. From there, then, if we do not face Batman, we can choose to either push our luck and go after another hero, or we can stop and move straight into the upgrade phase. So let's look one more example of this. Let's go ahead and find another hero. So we have a basic beat cop. There are only one symbol on there, and again, we can use any of our stuff first. So if we want to use any upgrades or accomplices or villain powers, we'll go ahead and do that first, and then again, we'll assign our dice. And going back to our previous example, let's go ahead and say with the Two-Face, remember his coins, if he had any ones that had the scratches on them, they would let him gain one of the expended dice back. So he could say, he had one of those, he could spend that to gain one of those back and roll it back into his pool during this part of the phase. So from there then, once we've done all that, then we can go ahead and assign dice again. So we have a 4 or better, so we can do that to meet that hero's ability. And so we'll move the gauge up one more again. And then again, it will be our choice to either continue to push our luck or to stop and move into the upgrade phase. So again, depending upon how well you did during this phase, if you got caught by either a hero or Batman and was arrested, then you would move into the arrest phase. If you did not and you chose to stop, then you would move into the upgrade phase. So let's take a look at the arrest phase first. So if you get arrested, during this phase you will stop encountering heroes, and then you're going to discard all the heroes in front of you. From there, then you're going to gain 2 of the scheme tokens. You would gain 1 lucky coin, and you would gain the top accomplice card from the accomplice stack to add to your hands. From there, then you would proceed to the end of the turn phase, and you would not resolve an upgrade phase. Now, if you chose to stop your turn before you were arrested and end your crime spree, then you're able to move into the upgrade phase. So during this phase, you're going to total up all of the power points on the heroes that you defeated, and then you'll gain that number of schemes. So we beat the Beat Cop and Commissioner Gordon for a total of 4 points. So we'll receive 4 scheme tokens for that. From there, then we can go ahead and remove those dice and discard those heroes to the discard pile. And then we can spend our schemes that we have to purchase new accomplices and new upgrades. And each of these is going to have the cost in the top corner. And we can also upgrade our power level by spending a number of schemes equal to the next level's number that is in there. So for example, we could spend 2 schemes to upgrade to power level 1, which will add a purple die during our next roll, or all of our rolls moving forward, until we move up or we end up moving back down. Then we can also, let's go ahead and purchase an upgrade. So we'll spend 2 schemes and buy playing cards. So we'll add that to our upgrade area and then immediately reveal a new upgrade that we could choose to purchase if we have more schemes. And the same goes for accomplices. Now the other important thing is at the end of the round, after all 3 players have had a chance to take their turn, then the player with the most schemes will be the new starting player. So in that way, you also may want to hold on to schemes based on how much the other players have, if you want to be the first player to go during the next turn. So you do not have to spend schemes and you can hold them over. So our player over here is going to choose to stop there and move on to the next player. So at this point, then the round, or the next player in clockwise order would go, unless that is the last player. So at this point, our player is going to stop and end their upgrade phase, and then they'll move into the end of the turn phase. And the final phase in a player's turn is the end of turn phase. During this phase, the player is going to return any dice that they have to the common pools, or they can pass the common dice to the next player if they have not had a chance to go this round yet. From there, then the player is going to look through their upgrade and accomplice cards and make sure that they don't have more than the maximum allowance that they have. So with Two-Face, he can have a maximum of 3 upgrades and 7 accomplices. If he happens to have more than that, then he'll choose which cards he wants to keep, and any cards that are over that limit, he'll discard to the bottom of the respected deck. Then the player is going to move the bat signal back down to the 0 space to start the next player's turn. Then the game will proceed to the next player on the left. Now, if all players have had a chance to take a turn this round, then it will end the round. At that point, then the players will start a new round, and the player that has the most schemes will gain the first player token and will get to start the new round. The other important thing is, after the first round, when moving into the second round, you're also going to shuffle in the advanced hero cards to the hero deck, and you're also going to take any cards in the discard pile and add them back in to create a fresh deck of cards. And this is only going to happen during the second round. Now we've taken a look at all the different phases of the player's turn, let's go ahead and put everything back together. So I went ahead and played Poison Ivy, and we're ready to move over to the Joker's turn to be the last player to go. So he will receive the 7 common dice, and again, he doesn't have any power levels yet, so he won't receive any bonus dice from that. So he'll go ahead and start his turn by rolling the dice, and rolled a lot of high dice. So we've got 6s, 5s, and 4s, and a 2. Then he'll move on to the second phase, so he'll draw the top card, and we have, so it says, when you defeat Lieutenant Heckle, you're going to gain a scheme. All right, so he is a 7+, so we will go ahead and spend a 6 and a 4. So that'll meet the requirements of that, so we'll gain a scheme from that, as we didn't want to do any of the accomplices or anything yet. And then we'll move the gauge up by 1. We're going to go ahead and push our luck and continue on. So we have a beat cop that's a 4+. So we're going to go ahead and spend this accomplice by giving it to our other player over here, and we're going to gain a scheme from that. And then he'll go on and proceed to battle the beat cop, so he's going to need to play a 4 better. So he'll use one of his 5s. He'll go ahead and push his luck again and see where we go. So we have Barbara Gordon. So if you are dangerous and Batgirl is in the discard Barbara Gordon, and Batgirl tries to stop you instead. So with this one, we need a 3, 4, and 5, and we do not have a 3 at this point in time, so we're going to have to try to figure out something. Let's go ahead and spend 1 accomplice, and we'll re-roll these 4 here. So we got 2 5s and 2 1s, so that's not going to help us, as we still need that 3 and 4. And we're out of accomplices now, so looks like the Joker can't do anything else, so he has been arrested. So at that point, it would end his turn. The heroes would be discarded. He would gain 2 schemes and a coin. And then he also gets the top card of the accomplice deck, and then he would move into the end of turn phase. So again, during this, we would go ahead and return all the dice to the common pool, and we would move the bat signal down to the 0 spot. From there, then he is the last player during this round, so then we would total up all the schemes. He has the most schemes because he wasn't able to upgrade, so he will become the new first player. And since this is moving into the second round of the game, we are going to add the advanced heroes and the discard to the hero deck. From there, we would go ahead and shuffle those up and proceed with a new round, starting with the Joker as he is the first player. And again, this is going to continue going round after round until one of the players is able to face and defeat Batman, and then that player is the winner of the game. Well, I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you have any questions or comments, leave those in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer them. Also, swing by my Facebook and Twitter accounts, let me know what you guys are doing or playing, or if you have any requests at all, I'd love to hear from you. If you found this video helpful, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel, as it really does make a big difference, helps me to continue to grow and produce these videos. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.